am so glad that you are here. You are going to love this episode. Rob Johnson, he is the director of digital strategy at Salle College High School in Pennsylvania. It's a private, all male school. Okay. But he has developed some amazing courses that involve students in their storytelling, and you are going to learn a ton. The whole program really has evolved out of necessity, but I believe this is the future of school marketing, really getting these kids involved and getting them class credit for it. He talks about the classes that they offer. He talks through what they're responsible for, some of the things that they've been able to create. He talks about some of the outcomes as far as what these kids are accomplishing and some of the fundraising and enrollment goals that they have been able to meet because of their enhanced marketing. He's also going to share some great tips when it comes to social media, just getting those stories out there and really looking at the data. Oh my gosh, you guys are going to love this episode. I could have talked to Rob for a lot longer, but he had to run to a meeting and you probably have to get to the rest of your day. So before we get started, I just want to make sure that you have heard that I have an absolutely free webinar coming up in December. If you would like to clear up some lingering social media questions as we head into 2024, I want you to join me for this free live Q&A session. It's happening on Thursday, December 14th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. I think that's 9 a.m. Pacific. This is basically your chance to ask any and all social media questions, get troubleshooting assistance. If you can't figure something out, you're also going to be able to hear from other people on what's working well, what's not, all of the things. I mean, some of you are still wondering about Twitter and Threads and LinkedIn. We're frustrated with Facebook. We're still figuring out what we can do with Instagram. I really want us to come together and get some direction as we head into the new year. Sign up for free. If you're signed up, you'll also get the recording. So you're going to want to make sure to register now. The link is in the show notes. You can also head over to socialschool4edu.com. And there's going to be a registration bar up at the top. But otherwise, look in the show notes for this podcast interview. Okay, let's get into this week's K-12 PR tip. All right, today's K-12 PR tip, December, it's right around the corner. And guess what? There's a lot of stuff happening at your schools, from programs to events where families are coming in. All of the things are happening and you can't be everywhere. So I want you right now to sit down and look at what's coming up for the month of December and assign some responsibilities to get photos, mainly photos. You can get videos, but photos are easy. Okay. Photos do really well on social media. Make sure that there's somebody capturing a photo that's going to get you that photo so that you can then celebrate that on social media. I also want you to take a look at what's coming up. And if there is any way that you want to promote some of those things ahead of time, think about Instagram stories. Think about, hey, check out what's happening in December and get that post out there. A lot of times I say, hey, help us spread the word. There's a lot of holiday cheer or, festive things happening this month. Make sure you don't miss out. And when you say help spread the word at the beginning, you actually will get people to share the post, which is awesome because you're going to reach more people. So making a plan now is going to help you in the coming weeks as things get crazy. You don't have to do it alone. You can get help. And in today's episode, Rob is going to share a big way to get help from students. I'm so excited for you to learn from him. So let's get started. Hello, Rob Johnson. How are you today?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm really good. I was really impressed with the work that you're doing there at Salle College High School. We met a couple weeks ago, well, maybe more than a month ago, virtually. And then I'm like, I got to have you on my podcast. So why don't you introduce yourself? share a little bit of your background and then tell us a little bit more about your high school.
Sure. My name is Rob Johnson. I'm a former television producer turned, I guess, academic media marketer. Working currently at LaSalle College High School. We're a private, independent boys' school outside of Philadelphia. School's been around since about 1858. I've been here for 17 years, so not that long, but long enough where I've seen a lot of the evolution of media and communication, and my job has kind of evolved with it. So it's been a fun ride, but as you know, a lot of work.
Yeah, absolutely. So you are private independent high school and it's boys. How
hmm
many students?
We've got about a little over 1,000. So it's a
Okay.
bigger school compared to most of the private schools, but it allows us to have a lot more flexibility in terms of the amount of guys we have in our programs and the amount of programs that we have to cover with our media students. It gives us an opportunity to really showcase a lot that some schools just don't have the bodies to do.
Yeah. So you are the director of digital strategy. So what does that exactly entail? Like what's in your job description?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been an evolving. It's probably my third or fourth different job title I've had since I've been here. So when I first started working at LaSalle, I was primarily just a media production teacher, and we had a like a morning announcement television show. So like for the first 5, 7, 8 years, that's primarily what I did. We kind of built up our classes where I taught one video production course and a web design course and a Photoshop course. And then over time, we've evolved our curriculum, which I can talk to you more about later. But in as my role as a teacher kind of evolved, and our WEXP media program, which is kind of encompasses our classes, but also co-curricular, where the students can get involved and do things outside of class. Those guys started making a lot of content and a lot of videos and photos and graphics, and they've really become a big part of our marketing strategy here at the school. So as my role has kind of morphed from just being a teacher into more of a overseeing the entire program. And now in the last couple of years, I've kind of evolved to where, I present to the board and I meet with the president and the principal to kind of really share and explain what we're doing, in terms of our digital presence, with the admissions office, with our alumni office, and kind of ensure that, the entire school is, using the proper content in the right places. So it's kind of where my job kind of falls, whether it's I'm creating the content or overseeing the content, or just making sure that if we do have things coming up, that we are properly communicating them in, whatever platform that it may be, whether it's in social media, newsletter, websites, podcasts, whatever we got to do.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the name of your school because it's LaSalle College High School. So
Yep.
just what's the focus of your school?
Yeah, so LaSalle College High School. So it used to be on the campus of LaSalle University, which used to be called LaSalle College.
Okay.
So the Christian Brothers are it's a Catholic-based order of, they're not priests, but they devote their lives to education. De La Salle was a saint from France that was really into education, and he is the patron saint of teachers. So the Christian Brothers, started a bunch of schools around the globe. There's about 150 different schools currently around the world that are considered our LaSallian network. So there's the Jesuit schools, and then there's LaSallian schools, and same kind of idea. Our school used to be on the campus in Philadelphia at LaSalle College, and then about in 1960-ish, the high school moved out to where we are. So we're about 10 miles from LaSalle University outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And then about 25 years ago, the high school kind of broke off its own. So we have our own board of trustees, and we're our own institution now. Prior to that, we were kind of all under the college. So for the
Okay.
last 25 years, we are now fully independent and have our own leadership and all those kind of things.
Okay. Cool. So I'm assuming, like most high schools, you have the opportunity, your students have the opportunity to earn some college credit, but it's not like a total college experience within high school then.
100%. Yeah, just by name only. We just haven't
Okay.
changed the name. Yeah.
Okay. So that's great. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
clarifying that.
Yep.
So, what kind of social media channels do you run and
Mhm.
kind of how does it work? Because I'm really intrigued by what you described with your students, because it
Mhm.
almost sounds like the curriculum for that program is the marketing and social media and website efforts for your school, which I think is brilliant. But yeah, can you break that down for me?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it kind of evolved out of necessity, as things, grew and requests grew and just the need to create more content. We had, we've always had, a video production course where the guys learned how to use Premiere Pro and edit and produce, and it was a lot of, being an all boys school, and our athletic programs are all pretty strong. The guys naturally gravitated to creating a lot of sports videos. So, when we first kind of, in my background, I used to work at a local television station called Comcast Sportsnet in Philadelphia. So my background in sports media and sports producing and interviewing and producing shows. I was nominated for a couple Emmy awards, in the Mid Atlantic region. So I was able to kind of bring that over to LaSalle. So we really started it as more of a sports, marketing information group. And then it's evolved over time as, we got so good at developing our sports content and highlights and videos. It was almost too good where, the school was getting a persona of a sports, where all we do is sports, all we do is sports. So we've been able to kind of, take what we've done with the sports guys and kind of replicate that over. And now we have content for everything. So we have a mission and ministry Instagram account. We have various student council Instagrams now that they operate. We have a full YouTube channel called WEXP TV. We have a handful of Twitter accounts, but now this year, really Instagram has really taken off. Where we originally only had one main account that I was kind of the main publisher and overseer of, but as needs and requests have grown, we've started having now individualized accounts that the adults in charge of those areas here now have the keys to the castle. So they're using my students to create content, for their events, for their clubs, their activities, their sporting event, their teams. So it's really grown from, where we just really had everything under one umbrella, where we had, a Facebook, a YouTube, an Instagram, and a Twitter, and a sports Twitter. This year, it's really become more decentralized, where, it's good and bad. It's a little scary now that there's things posting that I don't really know what's going out. But it's been great. And then the main accounts that I kind of run are more of the brand accounts where, it's more of a full reign of the school, whether it's, school side or alumni side or admission side. But then I'm also sharing the content these other platforms are now creating. So it's been good, but we just this year alone we've evolved even more to there's more and more and more and more content coming, which is great. It kind of helps sell the school and helps being a private school, we have to, market and advertise, and we have to, bring people in, and we have to fundraise and all those kind of things. So all this content has really been pivotal in our success right now with admissions, but also with our fundraising efforts.
Yeah. So when it comes to Facebook, how many Facebook pages do you have?
Just one. We have
Okay.
one main account actually, and the Alumni Association just started a secondary one just for alumni updates.
Okay.
But primarily we have one main account. I mean, there's a handful of like groups that people have made for different alumni events and things like that. But primarily we have one. And I know Facebook's the one that's kind of fading, but it's still for us a huge market. We have a huge amount of followers, engagement, and there's still a lot of the adults that have the checkbooks are on Facebook still. So it's an important piece to still put your stuff out there and make sure people are seeing that content.
Yeah.
Because that's where most of the parents and grandparents and the older alumni tend to be.
Okay. I love it. And it's a lot of what I teach with schools everywhere where Facebook, it's really nice to be more centralized, kind of like what you talked about.
Hmm.
But if you want to get decentralized, doing that on channels like Instagram
Hmm.
are great. And so I know that it can be nerve-wracking, but I'm sure you've
Yeah.
seen some amazing content get
Yeah, it's
created.
been awesome, and I've been able to share, some of our Instagram stuff on the sub channels to Facebook, and it looks great the way they talk to each other, and the video shows up nice. So,
Okay.
it's really helped with this kind of cross pollination of of everything we're doing, and it's a little bit less of me having to create constantly. It's more of now kind of managing more and planning more and making sure things are getting done. So for me professionally, it's been a little bit more of a change where, I've always been the guy that's been, making the calendar, but also making the content and also making sure it's posted. When now it's, I still do that, but now I'm also kind of more in a managerial role where I'm making sure that things are getting posted, and when things were going well, telling people that that was a great post and that was cool, and good effort, and letting people know that, even if it's a small, sub channel, if I share it on the main platform, there's 10,000 people seeing it. So it's still going to get you some eyeballs, it's been great.
Yeah. Do you have like a directory of all of your kind of official social media channels on your website?
Not at the moment, but I'm kind of building that right now.
Okay.
Step one was honestly just getting all the passwords in one
Yep.
spot, and making sure that everyone that has one of these accounts, and I have everything saved. So I spent the last week or so just adding everything to a one password where every account's in there. So
Okay.
even if I don't post directly on that account, I at least have access to if I need to edit or delete or take things down. But yeah, our goal is now that we have we had a page that had just our main accounts,
Yep.
but now with all these sub accounts, yeah, my goal is to kind of build that out and
Okay.
showcase more. We use Final Site for our CMS.
Yep.
So their platform, which is called Feeds, does a really nice job of aggregating all of our stuff. So on our page, so if you go to like our academics page, it pulls in our academics Twitter and Instagram a feed. So it looks really nice. It pulls it in, looks really nice. So every time we post, even if people aren't following those specific channels, it's still feeding content back to our web pages. So if you go to the mission and ministry page, it's pulling in content. If you go to our admissions page, it's pulling in anyone on the admissions channel it's posting. So it's feeding two beasts at once. So there's not a direct link to like here's all of our accounts, but any account you go to, we have a module built in where it's pulling in those content modules automatically.
Okay. That's awesome. We'll make sure in the show notes to link to your main channels,
Sure,
and then
sure.
I'm sure you'll be probably alluding to in some of the streams of if you announce the little directory. So you involve students in social media. So
Mhm,
I'd really like to know the process you use. Like, how do you select students? What
mhm.
tools do you use? What training? That kind of
Yeah,
thing.
sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it happens organically. Now honestly, there's these younger kids that are coming in as freshmen and sophomore. A lot of them already have their own Instagrams and their own self-branded platforms. So a lot of it for me is just trying to find those guys, that are already doing stuff, and kind of invite them into the club and get them involved. And even at a freshman level, we have guys that are doing really neat things, with the freshman and JV teams. And that I'm not going to use most of that stuff on our main platforms, but those guys are getting practice, building up their brand with the younger guys. As for the main accounts, typically we have a new course now called our senior capstone course, whereas before it was more of an internship course, we called it, but same idea. We started something called a digital media and communication concentration program. So it's a marketing vehicle really that's combining everything we've been doing. So it kind of combines the course content the guys have been doing, the extracurricular stuff they've been doing, and then the guys that qualify will be into this capstone course. In that class, we pretty much meet every other day, and they are kind of like my student production team. They're my top guys. So this year I have 7 guys in that class. Some of the guys like being in front of the camera. Some of the guys like video. Some of the guys like graphic design. So it's a very individually tailored kind of curriculum for each guy. And then we have a kid that's on the cross country team who's in that class who now runs our cross country Instagram for the coach. So he's at the games, or at the meets, and he's taking videos. He's in my class making graphics for the game day assignments. We have a student producer who's really awesome with making videos, and he goes to all of our sporting events. He has the keys to the athletics Instagram, so he'll go and do stories and post his videos, and they're getting class credit for that. Their names on it. But I have a very limited amount of kids I let just post freely. It's got to be senior level guys that I built a rapport with over the last 2 or 3 years. Primarily, the workflow is a lot of these guys will film and take photos and do what they got to do, and we use Microsoft OneDrive to share. So they'll kind of put their stuff in a folder, share it with me. So I'm able to then use it and put it in our archive. But for them, they're also building their portfolio. So when they go through every event, they film and edit and create. At the end of the year, they have 40 folders of all the things they did. So then they're able to kind of use that on their digital portfolio. We create a class, use that stuff for college applications. And then it helps us kind of keep an archive of all these things we need for the website and our marketing materials. And, if we're sending out an email from our alumni office, we'll use student photography to spice that email up, or a graphic design that a kid made to showcase the football game coming up. I don't know if I answered your question, but I kind of got off on a tangent there.
No, that's really good. So you described a senior capstone course, and
Mhm,
then for those younger students that are coming in as freshmen and sophomore,
mhm,
is it a course that they're taking or is it a
mhm.
club?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So in the freshman year, we have a course that's called Introduction to Technology and Design. So that is kind of the introduction to. I'm also the department chair for our Innovation and Design department. So we have about 20 different technology courses, ranging from networking and cloud to graphic design to video production to engineering, all under our one roof. So every freshman that comes in gets this freshman technology course, where the first half of the year is primarily just learning about our LMS and Microsoft Office and the certain tools, just to be a good student in general. And then the second portion of that year is the students get 1 week modules in all of these topics. So they learn how to use Adobe Rush to create videos. They learn how to use Adobe Express to create graphics and Canva, um, and networking and all these different modules. So they're getting introduced to it there. Um, Freshmen can also jump into our club right away. So if they have an interest, we have this awesome media lab studio that I'm in one of them here. Then we have another one where the guys are free. They just kind of come down during their free periods and meet other guys that are interested in that kind of stuff. And really just having a space for them now where they can go to and meet each other is really improved a lot of it, where the guys, hey, I got an hour to kill. I'm going to come down here and learn from a senior that's been doing this for a while. And then we have an intro to mobile video course that's an elective for sophomores. And then for our juniors and sophomores, we have an advanced media course that I teach. That's primarily a digital marketing course where we assign pods of students to like certain topics. So today we just redid November's plans. So we have guys that are interested in swimming. So we have a guy that wants to do videos and graphics. So they're signed up and do that. And then we have a guy that wants to do academic stuff, a guy that wants to do service. And so I try to find something they're already interested in, and then kind of build up their skill set. So they're promoting what they're involved with, but at the same time promoting the school, and then it helps us with getting content from everywhere, not just the varsity football team.
I think this is brilliant
Mhm,
because you have the skills, the interest, the involvement that you need from these students who are actually going to your school.
mhm,
Marketing is a real need, whether
mhm,
it be for a private school or a public school. And
mhm,
so the way that you've been able to integrate all of this with coursework, and obviously these are skills that they can go out and use in their future careers.
yep,
So I love it so much. I was just listening to public school guy, Ryan Fran, and he has a
mhm,
podcast also. But he has did a marketing internship, a social media
mhm,
internship
yeah,
for several years, communications internship. I guess it's more than just social media, but he really inspired me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this for my school. So I am
mhm,
getting ready. I love the fact that you talked about what the students work on, that they save in a folder so
mhm,
that afterwards, they have what they worked on. So
mhm.
that's a bit of their portfolio when they go on to school or get a job or anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's part of the class, especially in this capstone class. That's our first assignment is each kid. And usually by junior year, I have my top guys are making them already, but we use Adobe Express to create like a digital portfolio website for each
Okay.
student. So it's about them, it's their media, their photos, their graphic, anything they've done. But having it all in one space, allows them to kind of go back and find it. They kind of see how they've grown from freshman year through 4 years. And then, a lot of my guys are looking to go to top college like media programs now. So all these schools want to see what you can do. So that portfolio is a big piece of the application now, where it really sets the bar, for those guys that maybe don't have the best GPA or the best, X, Y, and Z to get in. So like my vision for these guys is that they get recruited almost like a football player, where all these D1 programs have these awesome content creation teams that are making videos for the football team and the basketball team and the swimming programs, and where they're helping the school to bring in student athletes in, but they're also marketing themselves and connecting with other professionals. So that's where we're kind of getting to where I had guys last year that went to JMU as a freshman, and UConn and Duquesne, and they went right in as freshmen, and they're working with their athletic departments right after that. So they're traveling with the team, they're on the plane, they're making graphics, they're on TV, and they're getting paid, they're getting college credit, and they're building up their resume. So it's a win-win for them, and these colleges are starting to see now how important this stuff is. So it's it's a win-win for us and for them and the kids, and hopefully then the parents seem to be enjoying it too.
Yeah. So beyond, I mean, you just really described the impact that this is making for the students, which I just
Mhm.
think is unbelievable. Um, what kind of impact do you think this program is making for your school and for enrollment and those?
Yeah.
Have you tracked any of that, or what could you say to that?
I mean, I don't have exact numbers, but just being in some high-level meetings, we've reached our fundraising goals. The last 5 years, we're at max capacity in terms of our admissions, with seats and with students. So I mean, I don't have exact, correlation between our stuff and those two outcomes, but it can't hurt to have, all this, marketing. We've always had a great website. We've always had great print materials. But in the last 10 or 15 years, especially as parents have aged into this, this age group where, they want to see Instagram stuff. They want to see it on the Facebook. They want to tweet. They want information in any way that they can find, so, we haven't stopped doing the things we've known have worked for the last 100 and whatever years. But we've kind of supplemented it with all this other, stuff, whether it's, today I posted a great drone clip. We had a outdoor football game with some students after school yesterday, our turkey bowl, but I had a freshman had a drone. He's like, I'm going to go out and get some drone clips. He brought it back and gave it to me today. I posted it, so it shows the school having a cool community, but it also just shows the campus and the leaves, and, and it's a 25-second clip that, that tells more of a story than we could pay someone to do. So, I mean, we put a lot of investment in infrastructure with our labs, and every student here gets Adobe Creative Cloud as part of their enrollment. So, we put some money behind it to do it. We bought some cameras and we have those things, but especially in high school, these guys all have cell phones. So using an iPhone, is almost as good as a $5,000 camera. I always tell them, the camera you have in your pocket is the best camera that you have. So you don't
Yeah.
always need to come to me to borrow a camera. You have a camera in your pocket. They're making videos now and movies with iPhones. You don't need a $15,000 camera and lens kit to tell a story. And that's really what we're doing, is more storytelling. So
Mm.
a lot of these guys want to make these 10-minute documentaries that are awesome, and they take them months to make. But the other half of the guys, I want them just to work on the storytelling aspect, and hey, get a picture. What why is that important? Why are we doing this? If
Mm.
you were an eighth grade kid, why would you want to see that? Or if you were 45 years old and haven't been back to school in 20 years, why is that video or that photo going to engage with somebody to want them to come back, or donate, or whatever it may be? So, it's really helping in all facets of the school, and it also just builds community internally, where the students are, they like seeing their own work. They like seeing themselves. Our basketball players like, if they make a 3-pointer, they want to see it on Instagram. So, the guys are doing service trips, or guys are on robotics. There's so many things here that everyone's kind of in their little silo, and everyone does a great job, but it's hard to kind of tell all those stories if less, our guys are really, promoting what they're doing. So it really builds up the community as well internally.
And I can imagine it also helps in staff recruitment. I mean, that's been kind of an issue across the country of just getting qualified staff, whether it be teachers, whether it be support staff. And
Mhm.
when you have a solid social media presence, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I want to work there," right?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we just kind of announced a new program this week, but based upon last year, we had we have an alumnus that I've worked with for a handful of years that was in my program, 10, 15 years ago, went to LA, and was working in the industry, and he ended up moving back home to the Philadelphia area. So we were able to tap into him just to do some creative stuff for us, help us with admissions a little bit, because he had his own business and a lot of free time. But now he's teaching a course. So he's now teaching our Intro to Media course, and he loves it. He's great with the guys, and it's helping him now. He's like, this is great being here because I'm learning, and the kids really push us to stay on top of things and new equipment, new tools, and new features, and they're showing us the latest trends on TikTok and Instagram that I don't, typically see. So they keep us young and keep us moving. But he's been a great resource, and now we just kind of announced we're based upon how well that program went with him. It's called the Technology Professionals in Residence program. So we're trying to hire more, technology professionals that are out there that want to teach or that want to give back and they want to help. So we're looking for like a photographer to teach a class, but also take photos and help our guys get better at photography, or a web design guy, or a mobile application guy to make mobile apps. And we don't have the current full-time staff to teach those courses, but we have the infrastructure and the need. So the school has seen how this program is kind of blown up and how it's working with one adjunct. So we're going to try to replicate what a college does, but a little bit more personal than the adjunct module that a college has, where they're just in and out, not really a part of the school. We want these men or women to be a part of the community, but also teach and add the professionalism to the program.
And every community out there has those people. I mean,
Mhm.
you have people that maybe are retired or maybe have some flexibility or they just want to give back. So, what did you call that program? You said something in residence. What was
The
it?
Technology Professionals in Residence program.
Okay.
It sounds way better than adjunct teacher program, but but we think it'll be neat. From my experience, I think especially after COVID, there's a lot more people now working remotely or working independently, or doing things as they can. I don't know. I've been talking to one guy who works for Google who's interested in coming back and maybe teaching a class where Google actually recommends their people to teach, and they'll give them time in their day to go and teach because it keeps them fresh and it keeps them vibrant, and they're learning, and it's almost like a service component for their organization. So I think it's more hope. We're hopeful that there's more people out there than we realize.
Ah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think we could all listen to you all day, but I know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you've got a meeting to get to. If to wrap up,
Mhm.
if you would just share like what is your best social media tip for those
Mhm.
schools out there that are
Yeah.
listening, what would you say?
The best tip would be just, I guess, a couple be, don't be afraid to fail. Just get it out there. People don't always expect it to be an Emmy award winning, Oscar looking feature film. Sometimes just a simple photo could tell, a story that's greater than, a $5,000 budget you had for your big emission video, right? So, the people that are in your building will know the stories and they'll help you, so it's impossible to do it by yourself. So, even if you're not able to get the students up and running yet, or maybe you're at a grade school where, you know, you're not going to have a 6-year-old do this kind of stuff, but they probably could really help you actually, probably too. Um, but just thinking about, ask yourself or ask people, why do you work at your school? What stories do you think are good? And then just tell people what they are. Every school has awesome things happening. Not every school does a great job of explaining it. Every school has math, English, the same classes, but it's those other things that people, they do want to know the student teacher ratio, and they do want to know all the nuts and bolts of your school. But every school has those stories that connect and makes you want to go to work every day, or makes you want to work with the students every day, or stuff like that. And a lot of times people forget what they are because you get so run down in your day to day. And hey, I've been teaching this class for 20 years, or I've been coaching this team for 15 years. We win all the time. But yeah, but nope, a new family doesn't know that, or an alumnus doesn't know that hasn't been back, or even Johnny in your class has no idea that you're the football coach and you won, the last 10 years, right? So, just trying to shake the trees to figure out what stories are out there. There's we've had this year an influx of kind of some younger faculty that are into this kind of stuff, that know how to do this. So tapping into them. When I first started doing this 10 years ago, we had a little bit of an older faculty that was like, "Oh, social media is just for the kids. That's for you." Where now we have people in charge of certain areas that get it. So like, "Hey, can I start Instagram for this? Can I start?" So giving them the keys has really helped us. But trying to find people that want to help, because it is impossible for you to be everywhere. I tried doing it for years and it just wasn't working. At school, but also at home. You can't be at every event, every game, every speech and debate tournament. There's just too many things. So just try to find a couple people to help. And honestly, I show some. I get data and stats now. From Hootsuite to show our engagement, our reach, and we're averaging a million. A million something reach each month. So I'm able to present to our school president and our board. But look, if I post something, there's a million people seeing it, and I can show you. And those guys understand, the return on investment on those kind of things. So,
Yeah.
so find your stories, get some data, and then get some help would be
Yeah.
the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I love it. I was just teaching a group yesterday and I taught them how to look at their stats and they're like, our videos aren't hardly reaching any people, but these photos are. And it's like,
Yeah.
yes, I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes you don't need that. Not that it's not good to have sometimes,
100%.
but you've got to look at that data and love the
Yep.
advice of not being afraid to fail and building that teamwork. We're
Yeah.
gonna share some links to your stuff, but what if somebody wanted to reach out with questions, Rob, what
Sure.
would be the best way to do that?
Email's fine, or I'm on Twitter, but my email is just johnsonr@lschs.org. And then I'm on Twitter. It's rjohnson underscore LSCHS, LaSalle College High School.
Okay. We'll link those all in the show notes, guys, as well, if you're on the run and didn't get to write that down. Gosh, this has been fun, Rob. Good job. Your
Thank you very
school's
much, man.
your school's so lucky to have you. And I'm so impressed with what your students really get to experience. It's really unique. And I think it is definitely the wave of the future. So I know there's a lot of people listening that are like, okay, if we can just take that first step, maybe get a little club, but then
Yeah.
working that into the curriculum. So
Yeah, I mean,
congratulations.
honestly, having the class, I know we got to go, but having the class really was the game changer.
Yeah.
Because getting a grade associated with these things really makes the kids do it. When I first started, it was all kind of volunteer. I'm like, "Hey, can you go to the football game today, or can you go take a picture of Mr. Whoever in class?" And they go, "Oh." But once you have a grade associated with it, at least it gives them a little bit more, real world experience, and kind of
Yeah.
helps them, on that deadline kind of stuff. So it does help.
Yes. Well, you've got my mind thinking now about ways that I can give back as well to my little school district. So that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. Keep up the
Thank
great
you for
work.
having me.
We'll make
Happy to
sure,
help.
yeah, everybody make sure to follow the channels there at LaSalle College High School. And we will see you guys back next week with another great episode. So thanks so much, Rob. Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you later.